Hi, I'm Jennifer Herrera from Pinpoint Marketing. The research that's come out of the United States and recently is that loyalty to customers is more important now, more than ever, post the economic crisis, and customers are looking for that. And in particular in the retail industry, I just wanted to know what plans you have moving forward. I know some of the businesses currently have loyalty programs, what you're doing now to focus on driving engagement.
Good. So future retailing in terms of loyalty and...
Loyalty, yeah.
Yep. What are you doing?
Okay, it was interesting. We listened to the guy that runs Carrefour and he said, look at the DNA of your organisation. IGA's DNA is every IGA retailer is a local hero, and they live and give money back and support their communities, and that's why they have businesses against two powerful giants. And all the loyalty schemes we run have absolutely nothing to do with frequent flyer points or saving up points to buy a steam iron. All our loyalty scheme, I beg your pardon, goes back to the community. I came to this country 11 years ago and met who's now my biggest customer, Fred Harrison. And just to tell you the story, they run a community benefit card and they give 1% of every single thing you buy. And remember, we go to war for 0.1%. So 1% of everything you buy in a store to a charity or goodwill or good cause that you choose in your community. So it's not a big overriding goodwill, but a charity you cause in your community. And I remember it was the bad old days. And I said to Fred, I said, geez, how on earth can you afford this? And he said, come, I'll show you. So he took me to the back and there was a letter from the headmaster of the local school, because that was one of the things you could choose. And it said, dear Mom, please shop at Richie's IGA Mall. We got our quarterly community benefit check, bought a computer for the IT centre, and we need a scanner and a printer. There is no advertising in the world that you can spend, because that doesn't go here, that goes here into your heart. So IGA is all about local heroes and giving money back to the community, and in Australia, everything you give to the community, you get back 7 times.
Of course, we have a business that's built very much on loyalty. I mean, for us, when we first bought the business and did due diligence, I was quite dumb in that I grossly underestimated the value you can attribute to a loyalty program and the ability to use it as a mechanism to drive both purchases that a customer makes. Today, over 65% of our total volume is done using our loyalty Myer One program, and running the right program can triple my sales in a day. There's no doubt that I can turn the vehicle on effectively at a very low cost and drive a significant incremental volume. Now, we have 2.8 million card users. They spend more than customers that don't have a card, and they generate significant amount of returns back to them. So in very simple terms, this year, or over the last 5 years, we've provided $130 million in gift cards back to those customers for them to spend. So we send a $50 Myer gift card to a customer, and they spend $125. Remember, our base margin starts at 50%, so you can start to do some sums that become self-generating. We spend a $100 card to a customer, they spend $240. So in many cases, it's about a perpetual business model that actually breeds the more that we sell. And remember, we have a much higher margin than the two people on the stage as well. So we can therefore reinvest part of that margin at 2 and 3% back into the business. But when you get your quarterly mailer, which is just going out this week, we're sending $13 million worth of gift cards out this week in quarterly mailers. Those quarterly mailers also now have a number of offers of free tickets, offers, deals, wine offers, and it's becoming, to me, we will spend more money on that this year than we spend on newspapers and television and mainstream media.
Which brings me to my next question, which is Brian McCarthy, the Chief Executive of Fairfax, said, can you come and see him later, because he'd like to talk to you about more advertising in the Fairfax.
As long as he drops his rates, that's the only thing. Brian keeps putting his bloody rates up for the Sydney Morning Herald and the Age, and it drives you crazy. He's like he's square.
Now, Bernie, you wouldn't drop your rates.
We do. Now, if you've got a Myer One card, you'll get a much better rate than most other customers. We don't even get a bloody loyalty card from Brian, I tell you.
Narelle, can I just make a comment that on behalf of all the gentlemen in the room, Bernie, thank you for letting us know that we need to intercept your mail to our wives.
Well, I think you've also got to look. You've also got to look at the colour of the card, because if you've got a gold card, you know you're spending over $7.5 grand.
Yeah, now I'm in real
if you've got a silver card, you're spending over $2.5 grand. If you've got a white card, you're spending under $2.5 grand. So let me know what colour it is, and we'll target you with some offers.
Okay, can I just say on behalf of all the women in the audience, the same applies. So there you go. I'm being given the wind up here. I do one very quick question, okay, and then I've got one killer question for the end.
Sean Cousins, JP Morgan. Just in regards to the outlook for the rest of the year, as fiscal stimulus comes off, do you think that the consumer confidence that remains quite strong at the moment will be sufficient to get the consumer through the rest of this calendar year, or will we have somewhat of a slowdown later this calendar year and into Christmas?
Couldn't have put it better. Thank you. Who wants to?
Oh,
you caused the trouble, just then. You can take that one.
Sean, I think the reality is if you look to Australia's GDP makeup for 09-10, there's a lot of resources earnings that aren't going to be there because of the price change. Thankfully, volumes are holding up. A lot of private investment has disappeared because of just stopping, because of concerns, and that means there's a hole. And that means there's going to be GDP contraction, and that will be reported as, gee, are we in a recession? I think we dodged the big R word, and that headline last time round the quarterly results came out that Australia's not in a recession was a fantastic headline for a retailer, let me tell you. So hopefully, with that reality, the things that are being done by the federal government will provide enough stimulus so that we can bubble along and avoid the worst of it. We're cautiously optimistic, but we keep a very wary eye.
I think, Sean, the first comment I'd make is that July and August are really critical months in retail because all of the bets are off. There's no big government stimulus, there's no money out and about there. They're two pure months by comparison, and I think we'll get a very, very good indication of what's happening in the economy in July and August because they are traditional pure months. There's very little change in holidays, and we'll know what the economy is really like. There's no doubt that the consumers had bucket loads of money thrown at them to go out and spend, and a lot of them have gone out and spent it or paid down debt. But I think what's going to happen is a new level of consumer confidence that hopefully will replace the money that's been sent to them. And that consumer confidence will be driven by an improvement in equity markets, it'll be driven by an improvement in values, it'll be driven by some taxation returns, and I think generally there'll be a lack of threat of overseas markets being disenfranchised. So going forward, I actually believe that we've more than bottomed out and we're going to be a gradual return back over the next 15 to 18 months. It'll be a little bit slower than we want, but I think it'll be an average Christmas and a much improved next year.
Andrew, quick take from you.
No, just very quickly, it doesn't affect our business. The stimulus spending, we sell everyday requirements, as I mentioned, right up front. And our guideline, the thing that would hurt us is if unemployment went over 10%, please God, we're not going there, but up to 7, 8%, I think we're okay.
A final question, which is to this, the market's been steaming along for quite a while now. Is there not, though, a risk that maybe the market's getting ahead of itself and we might see a bit of a tumble? September, October is never pretty as a rule.
To me, it depends on what happens with the number of earnings downgrades we get over the next couple of months. I think as results are posted, if there are downgrades and significant announcements that are less than market expectations, then we'll see the market come back. I think at the moment, people have already built in to the share prices they're prepared to pay in their portfolios for what they expect the results to be. If there are surprise results, additional write-downs that have been unforecast, then I think we could see a certain difficult period in the market. It's going to depend on what the fessing up has been by businesses as they announce their results over the next few months.
All right, well, that's the fessing up from the three retailers. You've got the three musketeers, the three amigos, but I think the three retailers have done fantastically well drilling down into their issues. Please give a clap. Not a slight issue, over $21 billion in revenues and 43,000 staff between them, so a very good beat on the economy. I'd like to thank you all for your questions, and I'll throw now to our close. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Narelle.